Hello, good evening. Yes, it is evening, and welcome to the Full Force Newsburst Live special unboxing with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by General Joe's REBORN.com. Hope everyone is doing well this Monday Eve. It's not Monday Eve, that would be like, what, Sunday? Anyway, I'm opening this bad boy today. Yes, Raptor is up next, or Chip, Raptor, Talon, and General Ledger. There's all sorts of different homages and nods there, isn't there? Bear with me. I think I need to wipe the screen of my little camera a little bit. There we go. That might be a little bit better. Or possibly I just need to, let's increase the light. There we go. That's a bit clearer. Anyway, yes, Chip, Raptor, Talon, and General Ledger today. Excited to get into this one. More wings after, of course, Nemesis Immortal the other day. How is everybody doing? Already a bunch of you on, which is great. Hello to everyone in the chat. Jedi Ben, Real Zim, Joe Barrett, Wilfredo Diaz, Derek Holliman, Rachel Salinas, Derek Holliman again, sorry. Wimblade, Joe, Jaron. Hello, everybody. Jaron, first time being live. Thank you for making collecting Joes even more fun. You're welcome. I'm going to take full responsibility for making that the case. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Wilfredo says, I wish he was able to look up more, but it's a beautiful looking figure. We'll get into that, won't we? A beautiful day in California, says Joe as well. Hope everyone is having a great Monday. Right, let's get stuck in then. Yes, we're busting into Raptor. And it was such a good one yesterday with Nemesis that hopefully we'll continue with the awesomeness of the Classified series. Yeah, so here we go. Classified Deluxe Raptor, number 139. Let's look at the box then, shall we? So we'll start off with the front, as always. We have that classic black and blue kind of vibe, which is the new kind of design style for these kind of figures now. We talked about it a little bit about the kind of design style. I quite like it. I think it looks quite nice and slick. The only thing obviously I have an issue with is the bloody great big window. I know like a lot of people wanted the window back, and I get it, but I just hate the plastic insert so much. And I really enjoyed the fact of having just a little bit more value with the packaging, having like artwork and render and all that kind of good stuff. And now we sort of have, you know, like kind of like relegated the art to just a very small element on the side now, which is a shame because it's gorgeous artwork. There's a nice shot of it. That's Raptor, Chip, Talon, and General Ledger, aka Raptor 139, of course. And then on this side we have the special attributes section, which I never check. I should definitely do that at some point, shouldn't I? It's never going to happen. I'll say it every time. And a little bit more of the artwork there in that kind of blue and black sort of phase. Of course, we've got the top with Cobra at 139 on it, all the legal gumph on the bottom, and this element as well, the render on the back, which shows us Raptor in flight with those amazing wings, a bunch of his like raptors or falcons around as well, flying around, and of course some trouble bubbles in the background with what look to be televipers on there as well. I believe it just, yeah, I'd imagine it's just televipers and their trouble bubbles. Nothing else on there in terms of like, you know, insane homage or anything to really kind of check. So yeah, it's nice though. It's a beautiful pose, shows the figure and the wings in full. And of course, we've got the call outs as well. We've got the bird head kind of dress, which is amazing. We've got one of the vents on the wings highlighted there, and also CM2, which is of course been put on there. Chris McLeod 2, which they just wanted to utilize my name again. So I get it. I understand, right? Just kidding. And of course, the figure with all the accessories in there. You can see there's General Ledger. There's Chip Talon, aka Raptor. We've got the kind of headdress there. We've got the wings in the background. We've got the claws. We've got all the other little bits and bobs, the pistol and the knife. Let's get inside this, Kitty said. What are we saying it in the comments? I've just ignored everyone's comments for the last 10 minutes. My Nemesis arrived today, messing with him now. Nemesis Immortal is incredible, Rachel. Absolutely incredible. Probably my favorite figure in the line right now. Just, you know, that added element of him being brand new, but also just being ridiculously good. Can't wait to see the Dragonfly unboxings people will post. Yes, Joe. I know that I just saw a bunch of people in the UK getting theirs now, aren't they? Crazy pants. Right, so sliding that out, we've got Legal Gumph that nobody cares about. Put that out of the way now. And we have the interior. So there is Chip, Raptor, Talon, and General Ledger in their plastic prison. And if we take that off, you can see the wings are attached to the backing card here in that new sort of red Cobra background sort of thing, which is pretty neat as well. But yeah, that is just a fix with those horrible plastic ties, which again, I preferred my accessories a little bit free instead of these like ties, which just, I don't know, just extra that I don't need. Okay, all right, I think I've nearly done it. Yeah, there we go. So that has now been fully clipped off. There you can see the backing card. Very nice. And oh, these wings are pretty cool. Damn. Rip wing, is that what it's called? I don't think I've seen that before. That Rip wing, is it RIP wing? Rip wing must be the name of this kind of like, yeah, this sort of wing. But anyway, we've got this like very cool articulation point right here on a swivel kind of yeah, like a, you can kind of see it there as well, that little articulation point. So that just does like a, yeah, like a 360 all the way around basically, but it can line up to spread out so the wings look, you know, like wings. So you got this kind of element under here which kind of like does that like wing element. You got the kind of like steel tipped parts of the wings to make them like weapons. Obviously you've got the vent here. I thought they span round, but no, they're in their fixed position. That'd have been kind of cool if they were like spinning vents, but I get it. For some reason I thought they did spin round. You've got kind of magnetic points there as well on the backpack here and here under my fingers there. Which I assume we'll see what all that's about in a second. Or maybe that's just the metal. Yeah, that's not magnetic points. They're just the little metal tabs for the other side of those that tab in, as you can see there. So, well, yeah, it's just a normal backpack peg scenario. We also, obviously, this side as well, so we can move that one out to kind of like see I mean, that's really wide. I should have got Nemesis's wings out as well, just to see the comparison in like length, but that's pretty wide, isn't it? I mean, like, just to show you a comparison of my giant head next to them, that's pretty, like if it was a moustache, that's what I'd look like. It's not bad, is it? Anyway, brilliant. And then we also have articulation points here on the wings. So you've got those and like on the kind of the base, you've got those at the end, and then you've got the kind of like these kind of like twisting articulation points here. So you've got a lot of cool movement with these wings, which allow them to really do some cool sort of, you know, things and like getting cool positions. I love the detail, textures, all the usual sculpt detail is in there. The colors are really nice. Got these kind of like vents with the orange inside to make it look like they're kind of, you know, like warming up or are hot engines. Really, really cool, like some sort of energy fuel source and everything. Even like a little bit of, you know, like I guess like a little bit of detailing there on that deco coming off the bottom of that vent, sort of like a heat graze or mark or something, which is quite cool. Very nice indeed. So like I said, we've got CM2 on one wing, and we've got Rip Wing on the other. I like, if that's the name for this thing, that's pretty dope. This is great. Look at that. Hi. Anyway, that's just the wings. I haven't even got to the figure yet. Let's have a look at some of these accessories first. So we have that beautiful headdress with the eyes on it as well, which is really cool. That's amazing. That That is so dope. I love the look at all that sculpt quality, all the different like individual layers of like feather and everything, and it's just really cool. It's really awesome. Hang on, can I wear this? Hang on, if I do that, there we go. It's me, look, but I'm a finger for a face. And anyway, but that's really dope. So that's very nice indeed. Like it. Ed says, Raptor, we were supposed to get birds in flight as shown in the picture. Were we supposed to get birds in flight as shown in the picture? Did they get costed out? That's a good point, actually. Yeah, because the general ledger that we end up with is a very specifically not in-flight bird. So that is a very good point indeed, Rachel. I don't know. It's a possibility, though. That might be something I asked the team, because we'll be talking to them again very soon, because I've got lots to talk about with them. Right, let's have a look at General Ledger, considering we're talking about him. Boop. Quite a cute name for the bird, considering there he is. Considering the secondary, or the one of the specialties of Raptor is kind of like was he like a accountant? So General Ledger is a cute name for this bird. As you can see, it's got like the headdress on. It's just one sculpted kind of mold. There isn't any kind of like two pieces glued together. It's just one sculpt and done. Nice, it's cute. It's got like the nice kind of like sculpt and stuff on the feathers again. But I would have to say I'm a little disappointed he doesn't come with multiples, or at least this and then another in-flight bird. It just seems like quite weird that we've got Freedom, we've got a Neol, we've got those two technically, but we don't have. And I guess it would be the same size as Freedom, surely. I suppose the wings, unfortunately, with Raptor probably is where most of the budget went on this particular figure. And I imagine that had a lot to do with why we're not seeing multiple birds in this deluxe set. Anywho, more accessories quickly to look at. We've got his claws, which are, I believe, are the same as the nunchuck ones, aren't they? There you go. I had them out the other day. Well, I had nunchuck on the, he was here basically, but on my table, he's not here at the moment. But yeah, you got the claws. The claws, which I'm not, fun little addition, but I'm not that bothered about having those in there. It's it's a nice little throw-in sort of vibe. If, like I say, they had to probably cut some of the, some of those actual birds of flight out, and it's not like that is taking. It's not like the claws are taking up some sort of, costing space. They already exist, so I get it totally. But I would love to see more birds with this one. And then, of course, we've got the pistol and dagger. Nice little, just nice little pistol and dagger tab there, like whoop. Nice little deco apps on the pistol as well. That kind of silver, silver kind of like the top of it, and then the black handle and black of the rest of it. So that's a nice touch that it's got a bit of deco going on. Then, of course, the dagger has the black handle and the kind of silver blade as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, shall we just get into Raptor? Because hot diggity dumplings, I am in love. So here is Raptor as he is out of the box. Let's have a look at that sexy head sculpt. Got a bit of paint smudge on there. Let's have a look at that close up. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of paint. Oh, it's not. No, it's not bleed. I apologize. That's part of the mask. Oh yeah, my bad. Okay, it's not over. That's a little bit of detail that's painted on his mask, and it's on the same on that side as well. So it's not necessarily paint rub, but there is something on his head there, but that might be on purpose. I'm not sure if the other Raptors have that little birthmark, but as you can see, mine has a little birthmark on his head there. Not sure about that one, but I'll have to see if you guys have got the same kind of mark on him. Anyway, the body, very cool. I like that kind of tattoo, that new addition of the tattoo on the body. Kind of really makes it a bit more interesting, covering up some of that, that kind of like just naked space. He's got the secondary kind of fluffy shoulder pieces as well to, again, like I guess that secondary and the backpack peg in the body hopefully create enough friction to keep that wing set in place as well. And the tattoos continue on the arms there around the biceps. That's really nice too. And then as we go down, we've got more cool detail. Now I've got his arm twisted right. The secondary on this arm needs to come round a bit, doesn't it? There we go. It's not secondary, actually. It's like a similar thing to Nemesis. There is actually an articulation point on the arm there. So this is not like a secondary piece. It is like the lower part of the arm, and then there's like this articulation point there on the arm as well, which is really interesting. And you've got some beautiful textures in there, like kind of like that kind of grey sort of like, I don't know, like kind of almost like skin. And then you've got the leather of the kind of dark brown leather kind of gauntlets with the little feathers sticking out at the end as well, which is really cool. You got that beautiful like bird of prey belt buckle, which is insane. And then again, the tattoo runs all the way down the back as well. So I didn't know there was a tattoo on the back either. That's the first I've seen of that. I think the secondary looks great, by the way, with all the feathers on it and the different, again, lots of different deco touches there. You've got deco apps. You've got a light brown here. You've got a darker kind of brown here. And then, of course, you've got the kind of tan on the top. And then you get a little bit more on this side. Let's do that. Yeah, you get a little bit more kind of detail on the chest pieces of the secondary. It's really nice. And then the legs are great as well. So again, they look quite familiar, the upper legs, but you get to the lower parts and you've got very specific. This is great. Again, I hadn't really looked at the details on the feet, but look at that. The claws on the boots, very vintage, but definitely updated. The little kind of feathers sticking out of the top of the boots there as well. Awesome. Just so good. And then just to spin it round and have a look at the back. Yeah, everything you expect, really. And then, of course, the head sculpt. We haven't talked about enough of the head sculpt here. The hair is amazing. I'm getting vibes with the hair of Vikings, that kind of like mullet going all the way down the back, shaved on the sides. Very, very cool. That is top quality moles right there. Absolute mullet. Love it. This figure looks great. And of course, we've also got the secondaries on his thighs, which are just pouches and a little kind of like, so this secondary here on his thigh has a little loop for the dagger, I believe. And then, of course, you've got the holster on the belt for the pistol. You can see there on both wrists, he's got holes so that you can pop General Ledger on there. I'm going to pop let's pop his little headdress on. Now, I'm actually surprised when I put it on that it isn't like friction fit, but I just put it on and it's perfect. Look at that. Look at that. Looks so good. There he is. That's the Raptor we know and love with that headgear on. I think I would have preferred, though, when I put that on, to have like a real serious sort of like, you know, friction kind of hold on it. I don't know if it'll stay on if I do that. Okay, it does. Not bad. And look, oh, did it come off a little bit? It moved a little bit, but it stayed on because I think the thing's caught on it on his chin. So it's not exactly the strongest fit, the headgear, but it doesn't take much to actually put it in place and then be like, okay, yeah, it's on him. So very nice. It works really nice with that secondary as well, just like adding layers and like connectivity with the feather colors and everything. Very nice indeed. Let's pop his pistol in his holster. So his pistol's going in his holster, bosh. And this little knife is going to pop in that little loop right there. At least I'm assuming that is. I can't see anywhere else that the knife would go. Yeah, that's got to be where it goes. So the knife just sits there like that, like so. It's an interesting, I don't think I've seen that yet, that secondary. Is that new? Can anyone tell me if this thigh secondary has been used before? Because I don't recognize that, but it might have been used on another figure that I don't have yet that's in the wave. Let me know in the comments if that is the case. The more Hasbro animals, the better, says Loston. Yes, indeed. Raptor was always kind of goofy to me until now. They've made him seem more legit. Now I want the retro version. Hopefully, as Rachel wonders, it will have an in-flight or two. Let's hope so. Will the birds in flight be included in Retro Raptor with cloth wings? That's a good shout, Rachel. Just got an email saying my dragonfly has left the building. I'm not jealous at all. Love a nice figure, but yeah, hopefully mine will be on the way soon as well. I can't seem to get my Raptor to grip his claws properly. Yes, Scott, there's been an issue with that, hasn't there? Because I've seen a video. Oh God, who was it now? I feel bad for not remembering who it was. Someone did a video where they did some modifications to the Raptor's like claws and his neck, because as you guys have pointed out, because of like the way that the head sculpt is, he doesn't really have a great range of motion in that head forward or backwards. And of course the mullet bit doesn't help, because even if it was squidgy, you know, you're not getting a lot kind of movement there. And it's funny that that figure, Starduster, you know, even Nemesis Immortal don't have a lot of head, like neck movement or range of motion, and they're the ones that need it, because they're the ones that are going to be flying around and getting poses and stuff. Anyway, should we put his? Let's look at those claws quickly, because like a few of you have said, a lot of you are having trouble trying to get him to grip them, and I will see if I have the same sort of issue. And let's just, if you just kind of like wrench him on there a little bit. Now he holds them okay, but in terms of like at any kind of, you know, like level sort of angle, unfortunately, as you can see, he doesn't quite hold them the way you'd want him to. They sort of bend inwards a little bit. They look okay kind of like that sort of angle, but when you kind of come in, you can see, yeah, they're almost like turn inwards, almost like a vintage figure when holding a rifle or a weapon or some kind of thing. You can, I think if you just give it some over there, it will get there. But yeah, you definitely probably need to have a little bit more. That's the best I could do. It's not bad, actually. Not bad. Not, and again, the shape of the claws sort of like doesn't really matter too much if they bend inwards a little bit because of the way they are. But yeah, it's not like something, I honestly don't think I'm even going to be using the claws with Raptor for display, but just to show you that issue that people were having. And I think what's been done about it is you can just kind of like, I think, Dremel out something a bit closer to the claws side in there. Obviously, there isn't a lot of there's not a lot of wall depth on the thinner side away from the claws, but like a little bit closer in, you can probably like Dremel some of that out so it can kind of actually flex over the hand a little bit. In any case, yeah, a little bit of a, you know, I think that was one of those things where it's like, oh, we've got claws, let's throw them in, considering, you know, maybe that theory of the costing out of, you know, birds in flight might have been one of those things where, okay, we can at least throw these claws in that Nunchuck has, but if they're not made for the figure, it's not always the case that they're going to work really well for them. Now, should we let's get to the crux of the matter. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get to the crux of the matter in a second, but first, I do want to see how General Ledger kind of affixes to his arm. That could be a bit better, I think. Let's see, because I just put it in like twice, and both times he was kind of like, it pushed him out. I'm getting a lot of resistance in trying to get General Ledger to go on his arm. But there we go. It might just be a case of me, you know, needing to put a bit more time into that. But there we go. He's on his arm. And there you have it. There's General Ledger in the house. I will probably, the way I'm going to display this is probably something along these lines. Wow. The backpack goes on. It's not, I'm going to say, it's not as secure as Nemesis Immortals. As you can see, it's come off straight away. I was going to hold it to see if it would stay on, but it's definitely not. If I shake this, it's coming off, genuinely. If I do that, okay, all right. Maybe I just hadn't pushed it on tight. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe I was assuming it wouldn't be as good as Nemesis Immortal. Oh no, it's on there. Okay, I just hadn't got it in his back. It'd gone through the further secondary, but hadn't actually gone into his back peg. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, I take it back. I don't have an issue with the backpack. My concern was that it would be too heavy, and no, that thing's fine. That ain't going anywhere. But I'm probably going to have him like with General Ledger sort of like, also I need to get him level. There we go. I'll have him like with General Ledger on his arm and the wings out, like so, kind of looking like an absolute badass. Look at that. He's really cool. I mean, that backpack is so dope. It's really neat. And I love the fact that you've got all these amazing like articulation points and what have you. So you can kind of like, I know, you like fold it up and like, I don't know, I'm gonna try some weird stuff. Let's see what happens here. Like just random stuff like this. Just random poses to see what it kind of looks like. You know, you can have it like all the way up like this. This was a cool one, wasn't it? When we had, you know, like kind of like that, like directly up in the air. What was that one that was covering him? Can I get it in that position? I don't know if I can. How do they do half of? Oh, that's why there's another one there. I didn't see that bit of articulation point. Idiot. So yeah, you can fold those wings. Sorry, General. I'm just going to have to remove you from his arm because I want to do this. Yeah. So this is really cool. Look at that. So you can fold that down, bend that down. It's like a transformer. And then you can have him, you know, doing that kind of like protective kind of vibe. I think they had him crossed in the really cool image that they had of him, and he was in a cool pose and stuff. But look at that. Very, very reminiscent of the Jungle Viper ghillie suit that he ended up with in the modern in the club figure. Yeah, and you can kind of get him in like that, the wings like that and everything. This is rad. This is proper rad. And I'm probably I kind of like the wings kind of being fully spread out like so, but maybe sort of like a little bit more subtle spread like that is pretty cool. But anyway, these wings are insane. And yeah, the fact you can kind of use them as sort of weapons and what have you, like, you know, pointing towards enemies, and like, you can imagine him like flying down, like them pointing like that sort of thing. This is endless possibilities, honestly, of display. I definitely want to try this one on a flight stand. Really, I think he would be so good, you know, on a flight stand. The only problem is, you know, General Ledger kind of only works when he is on the deck. It doesn't quite make sense to have the bird on his arm in mid-flight, not flying. It's a bird, it can fly. So it's one of those things where you kind of think that could have been better. We could have had some in-flight birds. But you can almost like, you know, you can enclose him a little bit. You can make the wings a little bit smaller. Actually, that's pretty dope, isn't it? So you can kind of like subtly make the wings a little bit less wide by folding the panels in and then those bits out. I actually quite like this look. That's pretty cool as well. Yeah, this is impressive. So again, there's a few little details in this one. Let's talk about that quickly. I grabbed some Schleich equivalent Falcons for Raptor. They scale pretty well. Nice one, Ed. I will have a look at those. The mask really gives Nightwing vibes. Yeah, probably. I thankfully have an extra Spirit and Freedom, a little paint matching, and I'll have an articulated Ledger. I like that, Scott. Good idea. I actually have another Spirit in one of these boxes behind me. I may do the same. I might try and get a Freedom kind of like redecoed. Basically, that'd be kind of cool. Don't recognize the thigh knife setup. Got to be new for Raptor, probably. X-Scorpion, yes, that's who it was. Thank you, Loston. It was X-Scorpion who did those mods. Classified River Otters, codenamed Laura and Stanley, please. Brilliant, Stanley. I found my Raptor's claws to be right, left hand specific. Oh, yeah, they are. They've definitely got a specific left-right scenario going on. This one's the right one. So let's put that on the right hand and see if that makes any difference. Yeah, it has left L and R on there, so you can get them, like, at least get them right. But yeah, the same problem, unfortunately, persists in that you just can't get it to go far enough over the hand without maybe some modifications. And I think that is the case. I mean, yeah, you can, if you give it some, it will probably go back again. But yeah, that's as best as you can kind of get it. The best I can get it at the moment, and it still kind of like wants to come back in again each time. So yeah, I'm probably going to forego the claws, the hand claws. It's a nice little addition, but I don't think they're necessary. I've got a lot of red ninjas that might actually benefit from those claws, blue ninjas as well. But yeah, I've got to tell you, this is beautiful. Like the wings are so much fun, and you can kind of have it like, I like this look as well. So like folded in, but then the wings are down, almost like he's just chilling, like he's just landed. It's very superhero, super villain, whatever you want to say, because obviously he's a bad guy. But like, I don't know, I'm really feeling this figure, and I'm really feeling these wings. Let's talk about the overall kind of thing and go over that quickly. The claws don't fit real well. You have to keep them up, so really get them on there. Yeah, definitely white. They still don't fit perfect, but it's nicer. Yep. I never took my claws out of the package like nunchucks, says Mr. Madgus. I need my lifeline announcement, says Stygian. I put the claws in boiling water to give them a stretch. A good shout. Loston says Ex-Scorpion's mods included head movement, butterfly joints, and the claw fitting. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the claws necessary, and the head I could see, kind of like in a mod like that. I'm not too fussed about the butterfly joints, honestly. Raptor reminded me a bit of Zartan, but don't remember Raptor in the cartoon. Yes, Avid Dash. So there was a Zartan that came out that kind of homaged Raptor quite a lot in the Rise of Cobra. And it was a kind of like disguise Zartan, basically, desert kind of disguise. And it looks a little bit like Raptor. And he comes with a bird of prey, very much like this, with the little hat on. But also the hat came off on the 4-inch one. So it's like, what? The secondary definitely helps with the gripping of the peg. Yes, definitely, says Scott there. How does he stand with the wings? I haven't taken mine out of the box yet, Loston. So how does he stand with the wings? Fine. He's balanced there right now. He literally, you can't see it, but he's standing on my desk. Prove it. There he is. Standing upright with the wings on. So there you go. Let's just fix that a little bit. Yeah, so beauty. Absolutely amazing. But like I said, we've got some things to talk about on this one. It would have been nice if you had more backpack support, like Metalhead. Yeah, in the same way that I think Nemesis Immortal could have done with that as well. Don't forget to hit like if you don't, Cobra wins. Thank you, Grizzlehorn. Get that man a shield. Oh, wait, he doesn't need one. His wings are a shield of steel. I thought the weight of the wings were going to have him off balance, but it really... Yeah, they're not that heavy. They're not that heavy at all. Nemesis's wings, the same. I thought I was going to have trouble standing him up. No problem at all. He's literally standing up right now on the edge of the display, giving me a heart attack every time I look at him. Super sick figure, says Stygian. What flight stands would you recommend, Chris? I haven't got any, so I can't recommend any, unfortunately. I need the wings to be 3 times larger. My goodness. I use the normal stands with the waist clamp. Yeah, you can. I mean, there are some pretty standard issue ones. Don't Hasbro have some on Pulse? I think Hasbro Pulse actually have some stands for flight stands and stuff. Just some light standing inside the claws fixes it. Yes, indeed, Paul. You're right. I have seen them. I have watched the mod video, and I talked about it. You may just be coming in late, but I've literally just talked about it and discussed the mod video. For those that are saying I should watch it, I did watch it. I kind of talked about it verbatim when going through those issues right at the beginning of the video. Cut the handle in half and claws spread fur. Yep. Got my Nemesis Immortal today. Not a fan of the tiny wings. Weird. Airborne's Customs, they're massive. To fit better on the wrist hand. Yep. My claws worked once I forced them. Yeah, I gave mine a bit of wedge, but you probably need to do it a bit more. Maybe have them, like a bit of heat as well to kind of stretch them out a touch. But yeah, like a lot of people are saying, you can kind of clip them so they're kind of rather than it being a closed loop, you have like a little like cut halfway along, so it kind of flexes out a little bit. Or you can sand out a little bit of the interior just to make the hands kind of go in there a little bit easier. He's standing like a little Rory Calhoun. Okay. Cheers for the info. Never knew there was a Zartan with Bird of Prey. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a pretty cool figure actually. And it's some parts are shared with the Raptor, but not the ones you'd expect in the 4-inch. It's like I forget which parts they shared, but obviously the bird is shared and some of the accessories. But it's like something like some of the legs are shared or the waist. None of it's like all the things you'd expect them to use again for the Raptor didn't get used. It's quite funny. Every backpack should attach like metal heads. Yes, Stephen, indeed. My buddy in Oregon got Nemesis and really likes it. Yeah, he's great, Joe. He's absolutely amazing. But yeah, Raptor. This is a big win for me. Now let's talk. Like once again, I will go through those kind of points for me personally. Now, I had my concerns before getting this figure were that the backpack wasn't going to fit in the was not going to stay on as comfortably as I wanted it to or securely as I wanted it to. It's on there. It ain't coming off. That is as secure a backpack as we've had in the line thus far. So I'm not really not fussed about that. Same with Nemesis. Like they are secure, they're not going anywhere. You can hold them by the backpack and they don't go anywhere, they don't twist, they stay in position and they're solid. The articulation on the wings, next level. The sculpt on the figure, the deco hits, the tattoos, like as additions, all on the back as well, which I did show, but you can just see there behind the backpack, the tattoos going up the back as well. And on the biceps, great additions to the figure. The sculpt on this figure is phenomenal. The headgear is beautiful and really does kind of like evoke that vintage Raptor. The secondary is a really nice touch. I love all the deco hits on that. Down to like the sculpt detail on the interior of those of the wrists. And the feathers sticking out of those. The belt buckle's really nice. I mean, loads of lovely details to really enjoy on this one. Of course, do I want more birds and like articulated ones with Raptor? 100%. Did I expect that? Absolutely. So I think what we're seeing here is a cost-cutting measure in order to get us this phenomenal wing set. But I kind of hope, and I do hope this happens, because it's more so about the birds than anything else. I don't necessarily need a retro Raptor. I don't need a Raptor that is like, just, take the birds out of the equation. I don't need a retro Raptor to replace this figure, because this figure's phenomenal. And not that any figures are replaced anyway, but you know what I mean, right? But I think a retro Raptor now would be really cool so that we could get articulated birds, maybe just throw in a redecoed Neol or Freedom or what have you, or two, well, one will do for a retro release, right? So, and then wings wise, you don't use these, you go with a like a cloth sort of variant. So it's a figure that can sit in a retro card and not really, you don't really need any space taken up necessarily. And then you can simplify what's on the character. You can take off the tattoos deco wise, obviously keep the headgear, maybe keep the secondary, but for the most part, like the cloth wings would be amazing and the rest of the figure could just be simplified deco wise. And then of course, yeah, I wonder if they'd faction switch for the retro. Faction switch? I don't understand what you're talking about, guy. A few of you mentioned the faction switch. He's Cobra. What are you talking about? Or do you mean... I really don't know what you're talking about in terms of faction switching. I wonder if a few people have mentioned the faction switch, and I don't understand what you mean. Raptor is Cobra, so I don't get what you mean. I thought they had him listed as a joke. No. Okay, I know what you're talking about. He wasn't switched as a faction. Tony accidentally put his render on a blue background as opposed to a red one. There's no faction switching. Raptor is 100% Cobra and always has been and always will be. Cobra! No faction switch necessary, but that's what I think you guys are talking about. there was a render that Tony dropped, and he just put it on a blue background by accident, and then changed it after being called out on it. How dare you, Tony? But you know what I mean. After it was mentioned, and he saw that it was mentioned, he threw it up with the proper background on it. So yeah, you can see that there was no faction switch at any point. I was getting really confused with that. I was like, what are you guys talking about? He's always been with Cobra. I wonder if there was any crosstalk between the Legends and Classified teams regarding wing articulation with Raptor and the Cap figures. Maybe there might have been a little bit of like sharing of ideas, or like, you know, maybe a bit of advice was thrown in directions and stuff. Definitely there's going to be talk between teams or between individuals as well, right? Articulated Birds podcast, that'd be fun, Joshua. I have an extra freedom, just needs to be painted. Yes, Mr. Madgus, absolutely. Hello, Chad. That new bird that came with Marauder's Spirit should work. Niol. And yeah, that would be great. I thought they had him listed as a... Oh, okay. Tony made a mistake. That's why he and Chris had a falling out. We didn't have a falling out. He always hated me. We need a Retro Major Blood so badly, says Joe. I'd like a Retro Major Blood, actually. That would be kind of cool. Okay, in the comments, what retro figures would you like to see, please, and thank you. And we'll do a little side channel, considering we're talking about this as a possible retro release in the future, because I think this is a retro release with Neol or with Freedom or Neol. They've got different head sculpts. Either one of them repainted. Sorry, I had to bend over to get... I dropped Admiral General Ledger, like to give him incorrect military name. I'm also like, I just did that as well. I just flipped the things back, and there's so many cool poses you can put this guy in with these amazing wings. It's it's funny because he's got like, it feels like a Transformer, this one. He feels like they could do like some sort of crazy cool crossover and have like I'm trying to think of who they could have. Who was the one in the Rise of the Beast recently? But she was on the good guys team. She was a Maximal, wasn't she? And I've completely forgotten her name. Anyway, you'll tell me in the comments. But as a bird, that would be pretty cool to do a Transformers crossover with a Raptor. That would actually be cool just in the comics. You know, like she becomes his backpack kind of thing. That'd be well good. Or you could find like a Cobra or Air Razor. Thank you, Joshua. Or you could find like a bad bird. I can't think of any bad birds in Beast Wars. I know they're out there. I just can't think of any. But yeah, that'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? As like a Skybound sort of Energon universe crossover. Yeah. So I want, as much as I think this is really cool and cute, this needs to be one of many options for birds for Raptor. So anyway, Pterosaur. Thank you, Carl. That's a good shout. Kev Jules says Retro Grunt, Breaker, Snake Eyes version 2, Blood, Serpentor, Clutch. I like that. All very good shouts. So Blood for sure, says Scott. Sonic Fighter, Falcon. I like what you're thinking there, Scott, because the Falcon Sonic Fighters would get a different retro card back. Loads of people saying Blood. Retro Cobra Officer. Oh, you've said loads and I've missed them all. Let's see. Retro Honda Lou, says Stygian. That's deep cut. Retro Cobra Officer, says Joe. Retro Zartan with Chameleon is a good shout, Carl. But I will say we've had so many Zartans and a retro one. I don't know why they would do another one other than to do the Chameleon. But then how do you do the Zartan any different? We've got 3 Zartans that cover most, redecos. Yes, you could maybe make it like Ninja Force, but then it's Ninja Force card back that you want. You don't want the Chameleon to be involved with that, really, because it doesn't make any sense. Blood for sure, says Shelf Presence. Major Blood Retro for sure, says Jedi Ben. Stanley says Retro Snow Job. He was my first Joe in 83. I could see Snow Job happening. We don't know if that's happening, by the way. We do know 2 of the remaining 3 that are coming out, but I don't know. None of them are retro. Well, the one that we don't know could be Retro Snow Job. You never know. But I think Snow Job's a good shout because we have the deluxe version. He's really hard to get now, and you could easily do all white deco, lose the kind of little kind of grey elements, and minimizes equipment totally. And I think that would be a pretty solid one. You know, take some of the gear out. You don't need all of it. You just need the poles, the skis, and then like maybe a different backpack, or maybe the same backpack, so you could have the skis and the poles attached to it, but you make it black. I don't know, something like that. But give him the rifle, the Sunbow rifle, and that's pretty much it in it really for Snow Job. And I'd be down for that. Retro Torpedo with his proper backpack, Stygian says. Yeah, nice shout. I second the Major Blood since I got into the line too late to get him, says Joshua. A lot of people have found that, haven't they? Sorry to those that missed out on Zartan color change. He can have another shot. Yeah, so those that missed out on Zartan color change can have another shot. Well, they've had a lot of shots. Classified standard, they're not hard to get either. Retro Zartan and also Deluxe Zartan, 3 of the same mold. I don't know why you would do it again, other than, like you say, to get the chameleon. Maybe there's another way we could get the chameleon. I don't know what that would be. Maybe with another character, maybe another Dreadnought. And then obviously it would be like, yeah, they can use it, but then it's really for, you know, for Zartan. But I don't know how they do that at this stage, other than re-releasing Zartan again, or doing a completely different Zartan figure and making him way closer to the retro. But I just don't know if it's necessary or needed. That I feel like the chameleon is necessary, but doing another Zartan doesn't need doing. Do you know what I mean? It's too close to, like, there's 3 versions of it. I need that retro wiper ASAP. Yeah, the Cobra wiper. Retro Jinx. Oh, good shout, Scott. I love the classified one, but I know people want the OG look. Yeah, totally. And I think it would be a really good one to do. Definitely. Retro Hawk. Oh, you mean like version 1? Yeah, okay, Miss Magka. So yeah, I definitely see that one. Yeah, definitely agree with you on that one. Like the G1, the OG13 Hawk. Colonel Hawk. When talking faction, were people thinking about Volta? No, Avid. It was basically, like I said before, it was because Tony had, when he did the render for Raptor, he put it on a blue background, and people were thinking at the time was saying, "Oh, what?" But it was just an accident. It was changed after the fact. Zartan needs an updated mold. Does he though? Retro Chuckles with Sunbow colored shirt is a great shout. So the white movie shirt would be great, wouldn't it? Definitely. Zanya comes with a present for a dad. That's actually not a bad shout, is it, Scott? That is not a bad shout. I'm using this as a toothpick now. This is amazing. These wings are great. By the way, I'm holding this figure. I'm really enjoying this aesthetic, by the way. But that's not a bad shout, actually. Doing Zanya with the chameleon would make a lot of sense. Dreadhead with the chameleon, we might fall out a little bit there. Release the chameleon with an all-new Dreadnought. Yeah, that would be cool. And then you could make it like a Dreadnought troop builder, like Chaos, who is a character, I think, anyway, but you could get away with being a Dreadnought troop builder in a sense. Give it to Monkey Wrench. He only came with a gun. He needs some more accessories. Yes, a fork gun he came with, didn't he? That gun is so weird. That fork thing. It's like a harpoon trident machine gun. He actually uses that weird weapon to, spoiler alert, actually I'm not going to say, just in case no people want to read the Action Force monthly or European missions, which you would have had. If you haven't read European missions or the Action Force Weekly or Action Force Monthly as it's known, the Action Force, the European missions, check them out. They're great. Heart Wrencher and Chameleon. That's a good shout, Venom. Very good shout. Why is Zartan the only Dreadnought packaging logo? Good shout, Stanley. I think it's because it was a deluxe, so they could mess about with stuff like that. Did the first classified one have the Dreadnought stuff? It might have done. I just can't remember, but it might have just been a generic background like the rest of them. But yeah, it's a bit weird that we've had like Zorana and all of those since, and none of them have that Dreadnought's kind of like logo affiliation kind of thing. You make more of that. Make more of that faction thing, please and thank you. I want a retro cross country. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I want that, Mr. Madgus. Monkey Wrench needs Firefly and Tripwire's bomb and mines. Yeah, possibly. Yes, first release was green Dreadnought logo. Yeah, Scott. So the first regular classified release did have a Dreadnought logo on it. It's weird they've gone away from that a little bit. Even just like really making a big, having like the Dreadnought's logo plastered on. I'm not sure if they have done because I haven't looked at the box in ages, but Buzzer and Ripper having it like on there would be cool, even if it's not going to be in the background. But that's awesome. Me personally, what do I want in the no one asked me, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Answer anyway. Retro wise, I think I want. What do I want retro wise? I definitely want Colonel Hawk. I think Colonel Hawk would be a good one. I also definitely want. Well, we're getting retro Flint again. Not that I wasn't like calling out for it, but I love Flint. So the more Flints, the better. And if it's going to be closer to the original, then brilliant. Retro Iron Grenadier is a good shout, Paul, but I think that would just be Iron Grenadier, wouldn't it? Really, they would definitely do. They're gonna do the standard version of what a Grenadier looks like. I think retro is a good place to do it though, because having already got an Iron Grenadier in name without any other, like winter coat or whatever you want to call it, or long coat Grenadier, then yeah, it's very likely if they do another Iron Grenadier, which has to happen, then they'll probably do it in the retro line. So that's a very, very good point indeed. And I definitely have to agree with that one. I think I want retro. Definitely want retro Iron Grenadiers. Serpentor carded, says Jedi Ben. Having got Serpentor, I'm not that fussed personally. But if it means that other people can get Serpentor that didn't have it or get it, then brilliant, go for it. Especially for those that are coming into the line now, I have no issues with that at all. And of course, I'd probably pick him up anyway because I'm a classified completist. But yeah, I don't necessarily think we need another air chariot. But it would be good for people to get Serpentor again. What else? Retro Wild Bill's a good shout. Retro Falcon, actually, that is a good point, Venom. Yeah, I think I want a Retro Falcon because as much I love the Night Force one, but we definitely need that retroed, just regular versioned, please and thank you. Just so we can erase, our memories of the previous standard Ret Falcon. I would take a comic deco Serpentor. Not a bad shout, Scott. I want that lady that flies the Night Raven. I love that uniform. That would be Raven, Mr. Madgus. So it's easy to remember. But yeah, she is pretty cool. And a female Night Raven pilot would be dope. But I would want a Night Raven as well. I could see them doing a Night Raven. They've done a Rattler. I could see them doing a Night Raven in the future. Like in a couple of years, HasLab, Night Raven, Cobra related. Yeah, I could see them doing that again. And then, stretch goals make sense then. You could have the Strato Viper. You can have Raven. It'd be really cool. And you can have some other, like a Night Raven drone pilot. It'd be wicked. Stephen says, I want Muskrat in any form. Yeah, definitely. But definitely in human form. Muskrat, yeah, in regular Night Force, that updated version as well in kind of like the Battle Core era. But yeah, Muskrat would be phenomenal. Retro Baroness in the blue. That's happening, Kevin. That's got to happen. I want a Night Raven plane, but don't want the price. Raven would be huge. It'd be long, but it would be thinner, technically, I think, than the Rattler. Retro Range Viper. Now we're talking, Venom. If we're going to get troop builders done, Range Viper has to be up there, I think, for me, doing a retro one so that we can get them again to army build, because making them a Walmart exclusive, and there's a lot of restrictions when it comes to things like that, and it makes it very difficult to kind of like, yeah, I agree, definitely agree on that one. Retro Range Viper would be solid, and I think that's pretty much everything. That's everything in the universe, isn't it? I would like to see with the retro series, not necessarily like, oh, we've got to get this because we need that character again, but in a similar sort of vein, but switching it up a bit, I want them to do the occasional foreign repaint in the retro series so we can get cute kind of card recreations going on. So obviously Ninja Force, obviously, all that stuff to get different, Sonic Fighters to get different card backs, but I would love them to do a Satan, and we talked about this yesterday actually, but Satan would be so good, like repaint of the retro Storm Shadow in red, make him dark skinned, like a different character, make them like a red ninja sort of leader, maybe throw in a couple of other elements in there just to differentiate the figure. And I would love that on a card that homaged the South American card or the Argentinian card. I would love them to do stuff like that. And like with retro Flint round the corner, it wouldn't be a massive surprise to me if a retro Lady J was also, and I know we've had retro Lady J technically, but another Lady J, like a redo of Lady J. Now I love Lady J. I think that figure is amazing, and I really like both of them. The first one release, and of course the kind of retro one with the retro accessories. So it kind of does make you kind of go, well, do we need a retro Lady J? We probably don't, considering we kind of have one. But to do like a redo of that figure, like they redid Duke, like they redid Scarlet, I don't see it being beyond the realms of possibility to happen. Like I said, I'm perfectly happy with my Lady J's, but like I said, I could see that happening in the future. And with that, I'm just going to throw this out here, but Canary Ann might be a fun one to do in the yellow, or make it Lady J in just in a yellow costume and have her in like a different mission sort of thing. But again, I think it would be really cool. What am I saying? Range Viper was pretty retro to begin with, but definitely helps with distribution. Yeah, like reissue is what I'm getting at, Scott, not like a redo necessarily. He looks like a retro. He looks like a Range Viper. Retro Moray with modern Lamprey. Yikes, split. Moray's got to be a HasLab at some point, and I'd be into that. Retro Range Viper with Eevee Chase, just to ruin everyone's life, making Chase figures. You mentioned at the Crystal Ball reveal he's Walmart exclusive. Is he the next Walmart exclusive? Yes. I want Sunbow J. Hang on, is he the next Walmart exclusive? I think so. But then again, we got that listing at the same time we got the Target listing that seemed to disappear off the face of the earth. So who knows? I want Sunbow J. Sunbow J, yeah, absolutely, Scott. Pretty much just have to have a non-flimsy. Pretty much just to have a non-flimsy card, right, Carl? Yeah, for Lady J. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Raptor versus Jinx, Battle of the Accountants. I didn't even think about that. Of course they are. Accountant versus accountant. Admin versus admin versus admin. It's like spy versus spy, but really boring. All spreadsheets. Spread your wing sheet. Spread your wing sheets. That doesn't make any sense. Question for everyone: How many display their Lady J without the cap? Not me. She has the cap on for me. I'll take a Canary Ann, says Rachel. Yeah, I'd love that. A series of retros of just foreign release would be great. I think so. Yeah, like a wave of them would be great. Jedi Ben, yeah. I'll take Canary Yellow, says White. I know it'd be fun, wouldn't it? I always found it really interesting that I wonder if that deco was done for Lady J, because it's Fun School, isn't it? I wonder if it was done was it Fun School? Have we gone mad, or was it one of the Argentinian figures again? Sorry, I'm having an absolute brain fart. Either way, I wonder if it was done because she comes with a camera, right? Lady J comes with that camera accessory, and she kind of looks a little bit like April O'Neil. I wonder if they looked at that figure and gave her the April O'Neil Channel 6 news deco from the cartoon. I wonder if that's what happened. and they were like, they kind of wanted her to kind of look a little bit like April O'Neil. I'm just throwing it out there because you look at the time period. Turtles was like very late 80s, early 90s. When did that figure come out? I wonder. But it was kind of felt like an April O'Neil homage to me. Retro Hector Ramirez, just Hector Ramirez in general, please and thank you. Special Mission Brazil says white. Yes, 100%. Yeah, would be incredible. If we're doing deep cuts, Hector Ramirez. Yep, Carl, absolutely. Definitely want Claymore now that Footloose is on the way, says Scott. I think that's a good shout too. These are all great shouts while we're looking at Raptor here being an absolute bad double hockey double dollar signs. This is I'm loving these wings, genuinely loving these wings. Does this work? Is this working for you guys? Hang on. How does that work for you guys? Maybe it's a bit too there we go. Just give it a bit more of a subtle curvature. Yeah, I like that. That's really nice. Honestly, there are so many cool ways you can have these wings sort of like displayed. There we go. Not all of them are good ways, but yeah, I'm vibing on these. I think my favorite one so far has to be the inverted, like landed version of the figure. So he's kind of like, he just got down, he just landed, and he's got the kind of vents kind of folded close to his arms, like that, and then they're down like so. I think that's really cool. Oh my god, this figure's great. You can even you can actually utilize this for display as well. So you can actually utilize the wings to kind of help prop him up a little bit in certain positions. So if you are having some trouble with the weight of the backpack, yeah, that works an absolute treat. You can't see, but it does. That works like a little kind of like way to keep him upright. But that's phenomenal. God, this is great. This is great. I'm so blown away by how good this is in person. And like one of the other things I liked was kind of having the wings a little bit closer to him, sort of like this. And again, you can mess about with this as much as you like, obviously, but like, just things like that. I like that look. I think that's a really cool look. And if you look at the side, the wings are folded around, so it kind of like covers his upper body a little bit like that. So that's really dope. This is great. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the best Raptor figure we've ever had. Would you agree? I agree. Anyway, phenomenal. I'll do a couple more little comments and then we'll call it an eve or a day. Fun School was Canary Ann. Thank you, Figure Six Pack. I thought so. Raptor is Cobra because he's always giving the bird. That is a terrible dad joke, and I love it, Carl. I'm thinking of watching the episode Cobra's Candidate this evening. I wonder why. I'm not talking about it. I just want this week to be over so bad. Glenda has Flash's accessories. Will we get a Cobra Diaco? I think Cobra Diaco would be on. Well, I think Cobra Mortal more likely, Rachel, if we're talking Snake Eyes repaints. And I know the whole Flash accessories thing with Glenda, makes a lot of sense. Possibly. I think I don't know, but you think about Cobra Diaco and it's definitely not as interesting as Mortal. And I think Mortal is more interesting for a designer, deco and all that kind of stuff than Diaco is. Not saying you're wrong or it's not going to happen, but yeah, you'd have to see. And it would, yeah, it's an interesting one though. It's an interesting one for sure. Ryan says it's a good-looking figure, but I wish they hadn't given him tech wings and he should wear a blue uniform with a blue hood and be called Cobra Commander. You said that joke yesterday, and I still laughed, Ryan. That's hilarious. Right then. And yes, stay fresh cheese bags indeed, Andrew, and I'm going to be telling everyone to do that very soon. Chris, sorry if I brought it up before, but any chance we get some love for the Red Shadows by Classified? Again, let's talk about the details on this one. The Red Shadows trademark is owned now by Skeletron. So in terms of the name being used, you're probably not going to see Red Shadow. You might see some variation of it, or you might see some way around it maybe. But that to say, the design and the IP 100%, and they could easily do some, some red troopers from they could do that kind of stuff 100%. And I think it would be great. Imagine a classified Red Shadow. It would be, we kind of can imagine it because of the wonderful figures that just kind of started arriving in people's hands from Fresh Monkey Fiction. Those things are pretty cool, by the way. Justin's been posting them a couple for like today actually, and I've been sharing them. But yes, I definitely think an official kind of GI Joe classified sort of faction, if they can maybe work the name somehow, then I don't know, it would be pretty phenomenal in my opinion. Is Big Ben and Glenda part of the same team? No. So Big Ben, well, yeah, technically they're both Joes, but Big Ben is Night Force with classified, the Big Ben that we have, and Glenda is just Glenda. She's just with effectively, G.I. Joe or Commandos de Heroicos, however you want to say it. Will you find a reason to go live Tuesday to distract us from I might. I might, Stanley, just so I could be distracted from it. Loving the Monster Force, not Red Shadow, Scott. Yes, indeed. Yeah, those are great, but love to have a retro release too. Yes, absolutely, Venom. Absolutely. Right then, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you very much for joining me while I bust out this beauty. Like I said, you've got General Ledger. I keep calling him Admiral Ledger. General Ledger as well. I am very much a fan of this figure. There are a few elements that still remain an issue for everybody with the particular figure, and that is the head articulation being quite minimal. So in terms of posing for a figure that is extremely air related by being up there all the time, I think that is a little bit of a faux pas. And also the fact that we only get, for someone who is the Cobra Falconer, only getting one animal companion that is effectively in a fixed perched position is another little. But this is how I'm going to display him. I'm going to display him like this. Maybe kind of like spread the legs a little bit, maybe give him a little bit more attitude. But I love how the wings are looking on this one. I'll probably line up the angles a bit better. There we go. But yeah, in terms of the display, is going to look a lot like this on my shelf. Very excited. Like I said, head articulation isn't the best, but my concerns were elsewhere, and they have been completely obliterated. The backpack fits perfectly and solidly. No issues with that whatsoever. And the figure itself is gorgeous. Loads and loads to enjoy on Raptor, or Chip Talon, as he's known. Chip Talon, attorney at law. Harvey Birdman. But anyway, amazing stuff. I've loved this. This has been an absolute, mate. The last two, Nemesis Immortal and this bad boy, absolutely blown my socks off. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. I haven't had confirmation yet, he says. I'm just going to quickly look while we're on here. I haven't had confirmation from Hasbro regarding the interview I did with Shooting the Galaxy on Friday. I posted... I'm just checking. No, nothing yet. So as soon as I get the go ahead, I'll post it. But at the moment, it's on hold. But like I said, as soon as I get the go ahead to post that, it should be up by tomorrow. Okay. Apologies. It might be tonight. It depends, but it's more likely going to be tomorrow. In any case, I may see you tomorrow. I may not. Depends if there's any news. I won't be doing any unboxings, I don't think. So the next time you might see me will be either for a news burst situation, or it will be traveling and I'll be posting videos from AR and everything. So depending on what happens this week, it's going to be an interesting one because there's going to be a lot of traveling involved. I'm not going to have much opportunity to do many bursts if there is any news. So you know how it is. So I will see you on the next one. Stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force, and so on. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.